This is the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra, which was released well over 3 years ago. Being a Samsung flagship, it had every premium feature you can think of. But since February 2020, the day of its announcement, it's been a long time. We've had the pandemic, presidents of most countries have changed, except Uganda of course, a cargo ship got stuck in the Suez Canal, and many more. When this phone first hit the market, it was at $1,400, but the price kept going down. Currently, you can get it for somewhere between $250 to $270. But does this price drop indicate a drop in value, or is the S20 Ultra still packing enough punch to justify a purchase today? Let's talk about it. Let's start with the display. Samsung flagships have always had excellent displays for years now, and the S20 Ultra is no exception. Despite its age, it boasts one of the most stunning panels you can find on any phone, even in 2023. And one of the biggest too, a 6.9-inch dynamic AMOLED Infinity O screen. Truly size matters.
That's what she said.
But it's not just about size, it's about quality too. This phone's display is quite crisp with a QHD Plus resolution of 1440 by 3200 pixels. And let's not forget about that smooth on 20Hz screen refresh rate. You get a good level of fluidity when scrolling and great animations too. However, unlike some of the newer flagships that allow you to keep the highest resolution even at 20Hz, the S20 Ultra forces you to choose between resolution and refresh rate. So if you want that smooth on 20Hz experience, you'll have to make do with the 1080p resolution. With the 1440p resolution, you'll get stuck with 60Hz. Still on display, the phone has HDR10 Plus certification, meaning vibrant colors that pop and a dynamic range that makes your binge-watching sessions on platforms like Netflix and Disney Plus a visual delight. From the darkest shadows to the brightest highlights, this display can handle it all. Now let's switch gears and talk about the design of the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra. While its display is superb, the same can't exactly be said about its design. In fact, it's safe to say that out of all Samsung flagship S series, the S20 Ultra's design is the worst looking. Compared to its predecessors, the S9 and the S10, Samsung really let us down with this one's looks. However, let's not judge a book by its cover. Aside from the looks, the build quality of the phone is good. It's a flagship phone, so obviously you get flagship grade quality. It has a glass sandwich design with Gorilla Glass 6 both on the front and back, so you get a reassuring level of protection against accidental drops, which is definitely a sign of relief for those of us who are quite clumsy. Additionally, it has IP68 water and dust protection rating, so it's safe against a high level of dust and can even be submerged in water for up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. You can use it to take your selfies when swimming or whatever weird stuff you people do with cameras underwater, maybe shooting a SpongeBob episode or something. Just like many other flagships and even some mid-range phones today, the S20 Ultra also has no headphone jack, but here's an interesting twist. While many phones in 2023 are shipping without any accessories in the box, the phone actually included a pair of USB-C earphones in the package. Now let's dive into the performance of the S20 Ultra. With over 3.5 years under its belt, you might be forgiven for expecting this phone's performance to be weak, but that's not the case. Remember that this is a flagship phone, so it comes with a flagship processor, and with great power comes great responsibility. There were two versions of the Galaxy S20 Ultra, one powered by the Exynos 990 chipset and the other sporting the formidable Snapdragon 865 chipset. If you're thinking of buying the phone today, there's a crystal clear choice, the Snapdragon variant. The Exynos 990 was good, but it had its fair share of criticisms for not being as good as the Snapdragon 865 in terms of performance and power management. Exynos chipsets also have cases of overheating, and you do not want those problems. Comparing the Snapdragon 865 to processors found in phones released this year in the same price range, such as the Snapdragon 695 or the Dimensity 1080, the Snapdragon 865 still stands tall in every single aspect except power efficiency. And that's understandable because it's older, and the same goes for the Exynos 990. Fueling this processing power is the massive choice of RAM, either 12GB or 16GB, along with the storage options of either 128GB or 512GB. In addition to that, you also get expandable storage of up to 1TB, so more than enough room for your naughty photos and videos. The S20 Ultra can still give a run for its money to most 2023 phones hovering around the same price point. Its raw processing power, ample RAM, and storage configuration contribute to a smooth and responsive user experience, even in today's demanding app-heavy and multitasking scenarios. Moving on to software, The phone launched with Android 10 and One UI 2.1, a dynamic duo that promised a user-friendly experience and lots of features to keep users engaged. Years later, and now the phone has even the better Android 13 and One UI 5.1. So despite being released more than 3 years ago, the phone is still up to date as compared to most other Android phones. Unfortunately, this marks the end of the S20 Ultra software journey. It won't get Android 14, but I'm assuming it doesn't really matter for most people, especially those looking for a budget option. Now let's talk about the cameras, one of the most important features of a smartphone. When this flagship arrived on the scene, it had one of the best smartphone camera setups in the world. The primary camera boasted of a 108 megapixel wide-angle lens, while the periscope telephoto lens stands strong at 48 megapixel. The ultra-wide lens with a 12 megapixel sensor offers a broader perspective, and on the front, there's a 40 megapixel selfie snapper to capture your best angles. One of the talking points of the S20 Ultra's camera capability was its capacity to shoot in the jaw-dropping resolution of 8K. Now let's be honest, 8K video may sound fantastic on paper, but the practical use case for this resolution is limited. No one really uses 8K, especially on a smartphone. In addition to that, it's capped at 24 FPS, making it even less interesting. But it can still record at 4K 30 FPS or 60 FPS on both the rear and selfie cameras. And that's extremely good. You can easily take cinematic videos with the cameras. The S20 Ultra was the first Samsung phone to introduce 100 times zoom. At the time, it was a game changer, producing some of the sharpest images after zooming on a smartphone. However, as time moved on, other phones stepped up onto the plate, including subsequent models from Samsung's own S series. The reality today is that compared to these newest flagships, the S20 Ultra's 100 times zoom might not be the absolute best, but let's keep it real. At a price point of around $250, it's unstoppable. Overall, it's one of the most powerful camera phones at this price. Finally, let's talk about its battery life. It sports a 5000 mAh battery, 45W charging and 15W wireless charging, so it's built to keep up with your busy day. That 5000 mAh battery is a reliable companion that can comfortably last an entire day of regular usage, unless you're addicted to a phone like me. And now to address the ultimate question, should you buy the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra in 2023? Well, the answer is quite clear, probably yes. This question leads us into the timeless debate of old flagship versus new budget phone, and more often than not, the old flagship always wins. Just think about it. Great cameras, great display, great performance, expandable storage, and a solid battery life, all wrapped up in a budget-friendly package. It's a combination that's hard to ignore. Instead of paying the same $250 for a new Samsung Galaxy A phone, or a Redmi Note phone, or a Realme C phone, or a Tecno Spark, or an Infinix Note phone, why not opt for the S20 Ultra instead? And I'm not saying that these phones are bad, but these are Samsung flagship. It's like bringing a gun to a knife fight. What other older phone should we talk about? Let us know in the comments down below, and if you like the video, you can subscribe, like, share, and even comment. Thanks for watching. I'm Milan, and I'm signing out.